Attention, the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. What's the secret of change? We don't fight the old. Instead, we focus on building the new. Welcome to the Table of Change. Come on in and have a seat at our table.
It's another Tuesday night, and I am so happy. I'm here on Table of Change. I got this big table in front of me, and we are going to change the table tonight. It is the night, November 12th, 2024. Tamara, are you here with me tonight? Let's change the table.
I'm here, Jackie, and I'm hoping to get some of your energy tonight. But, Jackie, guess what?
Let me guess. Who's the guest tonight?
I'm excited. I couldn't even give you any hints. I'm excited tonight because coming to Table of Change tonight, I created a new word. I invented a new word tonight. One of my bestest friends, Jackie, on Table of Change tonight. On Table of Change, her name is Vet Senator Frances Wilson. She was born in Nassau, Bahamas. She went to Hawksbill High School. She operated and the owner of Tropical Zone Barbershop for over 21 years. She has worn so many hats. She's been an insurance agent. She was the winner of the top 3 sales associates globally. She was the host of I Am Woman. She's a respiratory therapist in Florida. Remember, we're going to mute our microphones if we're on Zoom. We have to mute our microphones. And in studio tonight, we have Zet Frances. I got to tell you guys, she has so many hats that she has worn. It was hard to figure out what can I talk to her about because she has so much valuable input on so many different topics. But in speaking to her, Jackie, she said to me, I asked her, what is your motto? And this is what stood out to me. She said, don't be jealous of anyone's life because you don't know what they did to get what they got and don't know what they're doing to keep what they got.
Ooh, that's right.
I got to repeat that just in case you weren't listening. Tonight on Table of Change, Senator Frances Wilson, and her personal motto is, don't be jealous of anyone's life because you don't know what they did to get what they got and don't know what they're doing to keep what they got. Let's give a big round of applause, a welcome tonight for Zet, Senator Frances Wilson.
Welcome, Zet.
Hi, guys. Oh, my goodness. I am so pumped up. Listen, I could just feel the energy through the phone. I can reach out and touch you guys. Thanks so much for having me tonight.
Yeah. One of the things, Zach, that we do on Table of Change is it was based in terms of customer service. That's how the show basically started. But we realized that there's so many issues and so many avenues that's affecting customer service. And then we also have different issues that come up in our society that we also want to talk about. So we tend to stray a little bit from the customer service avenue. And tonight, one of the things that came to the table was moving to Canada. The prospect of moving to Canada. And I know you're currently living in Canada. So we brought you on tonight to give us an idea in terms of, you might have someone listening that's thinking about the move, wanting to know the real nitty gritty, the good, the bad, and the ugly in terms of moving to Canada. So we want
I lost you for a minute there.
Yes, we just want you to help you in terms of helping us with moving to Canada. What has been your experience in terms of moving to Canada?
Wow. I used to get asked this question a lot over the years. It seems to have dwindled now. I guess because now there's so many platforms like TikTok and you have people on there, giving their good, bad, and ugly views and response experience that they've shared. But for me, moving to Canada, I would say it was a it was a very positive and beautiful thing for my life, and my daughters. The nitty gritty, the down to earth truth. I would say one of the things I've always told people if you're interested in moving to Canada is to save your money. Do not move to Canada on a whim. Sometimes, Bahamians, we have this habit if we want to leave one island to move to the next. Oh, I'm just going to go there with $50 or $100 in my pocket because I have cousins, I have family. I could share a room. I could shack up with a family member or, we tend to have that lackadaisical mindset, but you can't have that in Canada. You can't have that. You should not have that, let me say. I wouldn't advise you to have that because this is a doggy dog's world. This is a totally different atmosphere. And one of the other things I like to give people a list. I think there's some 15 things I would tell people to do prior to moving here. You know how easy it is to get I consider getting a driver's license in the Bahamas very easy. Very, very easy. There are like 3 steps to getting a full driver's license here in Canada. And when we could pay $50, I can't remember if the fees have gone up in the Bahamas to get a full license. Is it still $50?
But wait. You said something that I really need to hear. You said there's 3 steps involved. What are those 3 steps?
Okay, first of all, you need to do a written test. Okay, and I think in the Bahamas that we call getting a learner's permit, right? That's the first stage. And then the second stage is Canada has the G1, the G1, the G2, and the full G license. Those are 3 parts. The first part is the written test, and that's what I guess you call your learner's permit. And there's a second phase, the G2. They take you on the driving test, and you have to be able to do certain things, such as parallel park, 3-point turning, uphill, downhill, and check when you drive through the school areas to make, they want to check that you're able to follow the rules of driving in the school zone, which Bahamians don't really pay attention to. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, and then there's the full G. And all of these tests you have to pay for. Everything is different. So let's just say a total, it may range from, I honestly can't remember because it's been a while. It may range from anywhere from $250 to $300 to get your full driver's license. They don't recognize the Bahamas driver's license. So for some persons, you can actually, if you have a U.S. driver's license and you have a driver's record and driving experience in the U.S., there's some instances you may, I don't know if that's changed, don't quote me, you can turn in your U.S. driver's license for a full G Canadian driver's license. So you can surpass all of those levels once you have enough driving experience.
I gotta ask this question in terms of the cost of living. We hear that all the time. Give us an idea in terms of rent. What is the cost of living?
Especially since the pandemic, it wasn't so bad prior to the pandemic, but I would say prior to the pandemic, you would have been able to get a 1-bedroom apartment anywhere from $1,000 to, I don't know, $1,400. But now, post-pandemic, the cost of living, everything has gone up. I would say average 2-bedroom can be anywhere from $2,500 a month to $3,000, depending on which part of Ontario, Canada, or which part of Canada, because every state is different. You understand? So in Toronto, you could live downtown Toronto. A 1-bedroom may cost you $2,000 or $2,500. And then and smaller provinces or different provinces in different parts of different cities can be, less. It all depends on you, because honestly, there are certain avenues, certain classes that you can fall into, and it all depends. Some people want to live in the city, downtown, just like living in Nassau. If you want to live Lifer Key, you want to live Carmichael Road, or you want to live out east or west, that that plays a role and a big factor in the cost of your rent.
Jackie, I know Jackie, I have someone type a question to her, Jackie.
Yes, I just want to know, even before we just jump right into Canada, like what was the process? Like, what was it hard? Let me know what did you have to do from home, and did you get good service when you was preparing to go to Canada? Just walk that through.
First of all, I had a good support system. I had two really, really good friends who was living here at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked their brains with every question that I can think of. And even then, there were still things that they didn't know and they weren't privy to, they weren't experienced with. Because one of the hardest things for me when I first moved to Canada was finding housing.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to find someplace to live, being able to find someplace to rent. You can move here with money, but it's a big credit factor. Those things are important here. And you have to, for example, if you're trying to find an apartment and you don't have a full-time job where you can get a job letter, you don't have a credit score, because they do a credit background check. I'm not saying that everyone does it, but for the majority of rental companies and landlords, they do a credit background check. They want to know that the people they're bringing into their place, they have the necessary documents that is needed to for them to feel comfortable to rent a place too. And in some instances, people who don't have it, they may ask, like, I can move in a place, and they may only ask me for first, last, and security, or first month's rent and security. But let's just say one of you coming to move here with no credit history, and you're a newcomer to the country, they may ask you for 6 months rent up front. So Could you imagine paying $1,500, a month for 6 months? And some people actually do that. They save their money. I know the lady, she was a government employee. She got her pension. She got her I guess you call it pension, gratuity, whatever the term is for government. And she moved, and so she sold her house. So she was set, because remember the currency change. The U.S. money, especially if you're coming with U.S. the U.S. money carries a lot of weight here. So $100, depending on the currency exchange daily, the $100. In U.S. to Canadian on a given day could be $130. I don't know. Like I say, it fluctuates. So, Jackie, I hope that I answered your question.
Yes, because I know that there's some people.
Now, you guys, if you want to call in and you have any questions regarding moving to Canada, the numbers you're going to call is 325-5403 or toll free 300-8255. Let me repeat those numbers for you. Moving to Canada, the topic of the show tonight, 325-5403. Jackie?
Can I just put this out there? I just want to say, I am not an immigration consultant. I don't work for the government of Canada. I just want to say that. I'm sharing my experiences and the experiences of others. There are a lot of information if you're interested in moving. You can also, log into the ircc.ca website. Okay, but this is just full disclosure to say that I'm sharing my experiences and some of the experiences of my close friends and family. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
Seth, just listening to the prices of the homes to pay rent, I'm just thinking, if you're going to go, you need to go with 3 people that's working, because that's really high. I mean,
6 months.
Jackie,
Wow.
Jackie, do you know the Bahamas? I always tell people in the Bahamas, you're so blessed.
That's what I want to say.
It has its pros and its cons. But to be able to say you could walk and you could purchase a home in the Bahamas for $150,000 or $200,000 200,000. You know, here the average home starts at 1 million.
Oh my gosh.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah.
In terms
And
of
some.
transportation,
Mhm.
how accessible is it? You know, like in New York, they have the subways, or is it somewhere where you have to have a vehicle, or can you get around with public transportation? Because I know that's once you secure the apartment, your next thing to secure would be, you know, a vehicle. But like how you said, in terms of the credit score, that could be a little difficult. So how is it in terms of transportation and getting around?
Okay, with Canada, one thing I feel prideful in saying the transit system is really, really good. If you come here, what I find with a lot of Bahamians when they move to Canada, because Bahamians are so in their comfort zone and they've been used to having their own vehicles for the majority of them. When they move to Canada, people have this stigma that they don't want to catch public transit. They think it's beneath them to. There are people who actually have vehicles parked in their garage or parked at the subway station because it's more convenient for them. It's not that they don't have a vehicle or um, have to take public transit. It's some people don't want the headache of traffic. Some people don't want to pay for fuel. It's more cost efficient for them to take public transit. And so, yes, you can, in some instances, you can actually walk out your door and the public transit is right there. They have an online system where you can download an app on your phone. And let's just say the bus is going to arrive at 8:20. You can actually check the app to see what time the next bus is arriving. So you can actually be in the comfort of your own home, and if it's like a 10-minute walk or a 5-minute walk to the bus stop, you can leave your house at 8:05 and walk to the bus stop to be able to catch the public transit to work or to school or to the store or to the mall. Like some cases, my daughter and her friends do it. So yeah, I just love that, and it's comfortable, it's clean, it's spacious. It's not ghetto.
I think that's something that we can work on here. The bus service, we can really, really work on that. So I'm hoping that we can get on board and we can catch the bus and have our cars parked, and traffic would be less. So I think we can try to model after that.
Oh, and another thing I would like to share with you guys. You know how in the Bahamas you could have a third party or Rodak insurance and pay like $250, $300, depending on your age and your driving experience, for a year. The insurance is due every month here, so that's another thing that's expensive. In some instances, you could be paying up to $500, $300 a month on car insurance, depending, like I say, on your driving history and all of that. But keep in mind, the minimum wage is high. So when the average person in the Bahamas, maybe, what's the minimum wage in the Bahamas now? I've lost track.
260,
Sorry.
265 a week.
Pardon me?
About $265 a week, I think.
Right. So, I think, if I can remember, I think in Ontario, the minimum wage here is, I don't know if it went up to $16.50 an hour. So while the cost of living may be high in certain things, in certain areas, you're able to afford your lifestyle. And if you actually, like I say, try not to live above your means, you can actually live comfortable.
Okay. I think it's about $550 a week. I think we have a question. DeAndre?
Mm-hmm.
Good night, good night. I just wanted to know, how was the visa process moving to Canada? And basically, how was the service going through that whole process for you?
Okay, so for Bahamians, we don't need a visa. What happened is, for visitors to come to Canada, as a visitor, you need to apply for electronic travel authorization. It's called an ETA. I don't know if the price has changed. I know it's less than $10. And that's different with if you are applying, like you want to come as a student or you want to come as a full-time worker or something like that. So the process is speedily. You can apply for your ETA on the website. Honestly, I think it was $7. I can't. Tamara, can you remember?
No, I can't.
And yeah, you can pay for that. You usually get it once you fill out the application. You have a valid passport. And another factor is a clean police record, even though they're not going to ask you for a police record. But sometimes you never know. With putting your passport in the system, you never know what can happen. But yeah, the visiting part is pretty smooth. Once you get your ETA, you get your ticket, and you come on over. But the transition, as far as if you want to move for example, as a student, just meeting the criteria and filling out the documents online and sending the required documents that is needed. The process is very smooth, honestly. It was smooth for me. I know a lot has changed since I've been here, but if the process is still the same, they require, you to apply to a school, get accepted, have your acceptance letter, show proof of you're able to financially support yourself, or family members can support you if you are a minor, or well, not a minor, but if you are a dependent. But yeah, it's pretty cut and dry, honestly. The Canadian immigration, they tell you exactly what they want, and it's just up to you to provide the necessary documents. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you so much for your question, DeAndre. We have another question for you. She's thinking she's never been in the snow. She's never been in winter weather. How hard is it to adjust to the cold, and what is something she should do to prepare for it?
I absolutely love winter. People ask me if I'm crazy. It's my favorite, my most favorite time of the year. I couldn't wait when I got married. We got married in the snow. Winter, how would I describe it? You don't have to layer like what people say you wear in all of these different layers of clothing. The only time you may have to do that if you're not wearing the correct thermal wear. There's some thermal wear that you can purchase from Walmart. There's a brand, it's called Climate Right. Mm-hmm. You would be in the snow and that'll have you sweat.
Wow.
So, I don't want you to think that because it snows, that means the sun is not going to come out. It can actually be snowing and the sun can be out. Wow. So while you can still feel the warmth, it'll be snowing. Snowing is not bad. It's usually probably after the snow.
Yes.
When the snow is accumulated on the ground. But when, I love the snow. I'm sorry. I know Bahamians are afraid of cold, but I have this. My belief is when you're hot, it's harder to get cool, but when you're cold, you can always get warm.
Exactly. You know what I learned about snow is that some heat becomes in the factor in terms of the snow. So sometimes you can be in weather it feels physically colder than what it actually felt to be in the snow. And the big thing I learned, Francis, is how dirty snow gets.
Oh yeah.
When
it mixes with the dirt and
one more question for you. She said, in thinking about the move, she has a teenage son, and she would like to put him in the public system in Canada. What would you say would be something to know about the school, or what do you think was a good opportunity to be have your child in the school system?
My daughter is in the public sector. My daughter is 16, and I must tell you, when we first moved to Canada, she was a little shy because she didn't have any friends, or she was afraid to talk to people. And then afterwards, the pandemic came and they had to homeschool. They did virtual learning. And, after a while, that was another factor that, played on her communication with people when she went out, finally went back into the school. But the public system, I was just talking with our teachers last week. I just absolutely love the Canada education in public system, the way they support your children, the way the actual intensity that they work to help your children. If your child is struggling in a particular, they just don't give up on you. They offer online training. They offer lunch program training. They offer after school training. They do not give up on your children. Honestly, if your child fails in the Canada education system, it's either because the child just does not want to cooperate at all, or the parents are not taking advantage of the opportunities afforded to their children. You have, resources, you have laptops, you have school supplies, I don't think I ever have to give my child books and pencils and pens to take to school. There'll probably be certain things that she may want, like certain colors and stuff like that. But you don't have to feel worried or threatened with the education system, especially in the public sector in Canada.
Okay, I have McCleary from Fort Lauderdale. She's
and
asking.
another thing, taking the bus to school. The public bus for school picks up your children, drops them home. It's an online system. Your children can't get on the bus unless they've been logged in and applied to the website. If your child misses school, is late, they send you notifications every Jesus day. Every time I say, she goes in that. I know my daughter missed something. I know she was late. I know she did. Yes, they are very, very, very keen on that. Go ahead. Sorry.
We have Monique is asking how easy it is to get a job. Employment, how is that in Canada?
That was another one. For me, it was kind of easy when I first came because, like I said, I knew mutual friends who were able to turn me on to a company that was hiring because I was referral. For some people, it was a lot more difficult because one thing I will tell you, if you come here as a student, and you're a non-permanent resident, Canada doesn't, if you were a doctor in the Bahamas, a lawyer or Indian chief, they don't care about that. You could have a doctorate degree, MBA, they don't care about that. When you come to Canada, you're on the same level as Joe, the janitor, who doesn't have anything. Where that changes is once you've gotten your permanent residence. And wait, let me correct myself. If the only time that may not apply is if you have a company that's willing to sponsor you and hire you prior to moving. Because, there's some companies that you can find, they would hire you, put through your paperwork, and you're able to come, then that's fine. Then you're obviously going to get paid your worth and your from experience and then what you have here. But let's just say you're moving to Canada and you were a nurse. I'll give that as an example. You were a nurse, and then you come to Canada and you're looking for a job and you want to go apply to the hospital. No. The Bahamas nursing system and the Canadian nursing system differ in certain ways. You have to apply for certain exams. So in some cases, they may want you to do continuing education where you go back to school. So yeah, it's totally different.
Well said. We have to take a break, but I'm going to leave you with your homework. We need to talk about crime. Let us know if we can just let it all loose when we go to Canada. And then I need to know, how is the service in Canada? Let's bring it back home about the service. So we are going to the break. And remember, Bahamas, this is your show. So call in on 325-5504, 300-8225. And if you wish to sponsor, you can call 449-9106. So we'll be right back after the break Table of Change.
Stock up and save on all your favorites this holiday season at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Distinction Long Life Milk, assorted 1 liter, $2.29. Quaker Oats, assorted 18 ounces, $3.89. Primer Chunk Tuna, 5 ounces, 89 cents. Yellow onions, 3 pounds, $2.99. Whole chickens, $1.99 per pound. If saving money in November is on your agenda, you need the specials at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Looking for the perfect anytime gift? Purchase Rubis Fuel gift cards for special occasions, holidays, employee, and customer appreciations. With 18 stations on New Providence and 3 in Abaco, buy and redeem at 21 Rubis locations.
Wait, say that again, Rubis?
Purchase Rubis Fuel gift cards in $10, $25, and $50 increments from any Rubis station. For corporate purchases of 10 or more, contact Rubis Bahamas Limited head office. Rubis gift card. Perfect anytime.
Christmas is closer than you think. Whether it's early specials or last-minute gifts, shopping is in the air. And the very best way to bring those holiday customers to you is ZNS Network advertising. Whether it's TV, radio, social media, or TV community page, ZNS has it all. Choose a selection of ads that's perfect for you, or ask about very special Christmas packages. Call your account executive today at 502-3800 and let ZNS help you make your Christmas jolly.
Whatever should be expected of an insurance company is exactly what you'll find at Harvest Insurance Brokers. And right now is a great time to sign up for automobile, home, group, or life insurance policies. But at this moment, what's really amazing is their newly introduced National Workers Healthcare Insurance Plan, which is a strong and concise medical package designed for retirees or those entering retirement, starting from as low as $275 per month. Harvest Insurance Brokers, located Dowsville and Armstrong Street. Dial 326-808445.
We are back, Bahamas. We are back. I can't wait to hear from you. Let's share some of their experiences in Canada, guys. I have some friends in Canada. I have the Grays. Call in and let us know if you guys are going to stay there or you're coming back home. Tamara, take it over. Well, looks like we're having some technical difficulties. So what are we going to do until we get... Okay, Tamara, you're back. Great.
Oh my goodness. There's so many questions. There's so many callers calling in that. But I had to squeeze this question in. In terms of the culture shock, what is something that you find to be a culture shock? Like, I'll give you an example. I took a group of students on a conference, high school students, and the speaker was addressing the students, but he used profanity. And culturally, normally, we wouldn't do that, right? So what is something in terms of culture shock that you had to adjust to being in Canada?
The dress code and the dress code when you go on your job. Let me give you an example. There's some persons, I worked for a company where management would have nose piercing. And there's certain things, in the Bahamas, we're a Christian nation, and there's some things we just don't do. Now, I don't know if anything has changed since I left, but I've never been on a job, and I don't think I would have ever experienced having someone in management position with a nose piercing or a visible tattoo on the job. And the dress code, people come into work in slippers or tank tops or on their phones, with their headphones. And, those certain things, yeah, those were like, hey, you're not in the Bahamas, girl.
Yeah.
In terms of customer service, in terms of customer service, just an overall idea in terms of customer service in Canada, does it need improvement? Is it something we in the Bahamas can learn from them? What have you experienced with customer service?
My experience has been fairly good. I'll give you two examples. One, my daughter went to the Bahamas on vacation. I think it was for her birthday. And while checking her in, she was already through security checkpoint, her and a cousin, and they were going to board the flight. They were at the gate, security gate, checkpoint actually. And the flight attendant or flight agent asked them for a letter. They needed a letter of permission to travel because they were minors. Right. Now, when the manager came on the phone and my daughter called me, Mommy, they said they're not taking us on the flight because we need a letter. She was devastated. So this is 6 a.m. in the morning. Where am I going to find a notarized letter at this time to be able to send it to the airline for them to be able to board the flight? Well, anyway, I was able to talk to manager. I was like, whatever. So we had to find it. We ended up finding the notarized letter, sending a screenshot to my daughter on WhatsApp. She was able to show it to him. And those are one of the customer service. That's a customer service thing right there. I love about Canada. If you don't have an actual physical document in your hand, you can actually show a photo and they'll accept it. They're not going to criticize you or look at you and say, is this a scam or is this real? No, they're going to accept that. So they were able to board the flight, but they did not allow their luggage to go through. When they got to Nassau, their luggage didn't arrive, so they went to Freeport. And I contacted Air Canada. They told me that I needed to wait until they reached their final destination, which is Grand Bahama. When they finally arrived, I emailed Air Canada with this long email. And Air Canada apologized and sent me a $300 travel voucher.
Whoa. Also,
they sent me $100 credit for the luggage because the luggage didn't arrive in time, and they wanted to apologize for any inconvenience caused. There was never a hiccup as to, you should have this, and this is our policy, and blah, 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 and there was a second instance where I wanted to get my husband and I wedding anniversary gift and a large photo. I went to, let's just say, Photo Factory. I'll use that as an example. I went to Photo Factory and they said that the photo would be ready a certain day. I went a certain day, it wasn't ready. They said the machine wasn't working. So 3 days I went back. Mm-hmm. Right? So I decided I'm going to call them. I sent them an email afterwards. I said, this is inconvenience, blah, blah, blah. Not only did they refund me the money, the $50-something that I paid for the photos, they actually gave me a $60 gift card, to reimburse me for my time.
Seth,
so,
right there, Seth, I sorry to break in right there, but that is something that we have to learn in the Bahamas. Tamara, I always say, sorry has a hole in the bottom. You cannot use that word anymore. You have to give up something. And I had the experience the other day where I had someone gave up something because I couldn't get my medication. I shared the experience last week, and they came and brought it for me, and I didn't pay for it. So that's what have to happen. If you want it to change, there has to be some sacrifices. So I just wanted to put that in there. I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah. So, there's so much insistence. They take pride in offering customer service. They, you go to a store and you purchase something. They're very, very, very few stores that I only can remember one store at the top of my head that you can purchase something and you can't take back. You can't. They don't do returns. They don't do exchange. But for the most part, the customer service, I think people just realize that, hey, this is my company, this is my job. And not only that, get the policies in place, The customers are always right. The customer brought something back. They're not going to look at you and say, oh, you did this or you did that. And, it's not a personal thing. It's not a personal vendetta. You have your receipt. You don't have your receipt. This is what you get. If you have your card, we can, credit your card, or we can give you a voucher, what do you call it? A credit voucher. Or we can give you cash back if you don't have your receipt, and yeah, I think, in the Bahamas, we have a lot of things to make up for and things to improve in as far as customer service.
We have a question for you. The young lady's asking, she's moving to Canada to go to school. And she doesn't want to overshop because, of course, money is an issue. But how much should she set aside in terms of winter clothing? What type of clothing should I invest in?
Like I was saying earlier, there's a brand I call Climate Right. It's a thermal wear. You can get that if she knows anyone that's going to, because even though we have Walmart here, there's certain things in Walmart here we can't find that you can find in the U.S. So if she was able to get someone to get her a few of the thermal wear outfits, maybe like 2 or 3, she don't have to splurge because you can get 2 outfits and then you can wear them under your jacket. You just need one nice jacket, probably 2 gloves, a tam. There's certain things you can buy when you get here. Because remember now, when you purchase here, when you buy it here, you're going to be spending less because you're going to be spending Canadian money. Versus if you buy it in the United States or the Bahamas. Because you're going to be spending, the Bahamas is 1-to-1. So you're going to be spending more for what you purchase over there. I was so mad at myself when I purchased certain things in Florida. Because it seems like there are a lot more here. But if you know where to go and what to do, you end up spending less. Okay, so she doesn't have to, don't overspend. If there's certain clothing that you find yourself, I would say bring as much clothes as you could bring. Honestly, save money on buying anything. You could always buy gloves for $2. Then you could buy it from Dollar Tree, or you could buy it for $4. It depends on you. You know what I mean? Also, you can go in the thrift store. I don't know if you're bougie. I am a thrift hauler. I love the thrift store. And because this is my philosophy, that same outfit, that same jacket you saw in the thrift store, somebody bought that from the same store. You're going to go buy it brand new. And that's going to be just like the same item I purchased in the thrift store.
I know you know a bargain, friend. I know you know a bargain.
Okay. So if you don't winter clothes, don't bring it. Purchase it here.
Okay. So somebody, they're asking. She's saying that, what about males over there? If I'm going and I'm single, how are the chances of me finding a husband there? I know you have your own husband. How is the love life over there?
Jesus, Lord, I can't say certain things on the show.
Get in trouble.
I am going to say this to you, my love. Ain't no ring, no thing. Because this is what I find. There are so many single women in Canada, and the men know that women want to be married or desire to get married. I would say this to you. Take your time. Know what you want. Okay? You can find an eligible man here. You can find single men here. But take your time. Set your standards as to what you want, and don't stray from that. Because people could tell you. Remember now, this is unlike the Bahamas. You go and you're like a fish in the ocean? Atlantic Ocean. You're just one little fish in the Atlantic Ocean. So you got plenty piranhas. So set a time. Your standards, don't stray from that, and don't settle. Okay? And you will find your mate, because there are a lot of them here. Because you remember now, a lady may date a guy for 5 years, and she may be settling, and he will not marry her, but he'll meet you in 2 weeks and fall in love with you, and because you set your standards and you know what you want. you marry you.
So she's sending me a smiley face. So I think she's happy that, okay, there's some there. She said, okay, take your time. Don't settle.
Oh yeah,
You're fish in the
plenty of them
ocean.
here. Plenty, yeah.
Okay. So let us know about the crime. Do we have to be afraid? How is that, you know?
One thing I feel so secure and comfortable with in Canada, you literally could you could literally go to sleep with your door unlocked. I wouldn't advise you to do it, but you can.
Oh.
You could leave your car. Well, in the area where I live, we can leave our car unlocked. And one thing I pride with living in Canada is I don't find people steal often. You know, like how if you go to another country, let me don't use that. Let me go. You used to go to another country and you leave your grocery, or you leave your.
Are we losing? We can't hear right now.
Let's give her one moment. But Jackie, I like how she said there's availability of men in Canada. But also, I liked how she pointed out, because especially with the young girl that talked about clothing for winter. So it sounds like, I just wanted to clarify that, Jackie. What did you hear? It sounds to me that bring your clothes with you and just invest in a jacket, mittens, and gloves. And once you layer up, you will be okay. Like, we don't have to now invest in all of these winter clothing, right?
That's
No,
what it
you
sounds
don't.
like. You're not going to see it much anyway because the jacket is going to hide it.
Exactly. You can wear the same jacket every other day. Now, I know we lost you for a moment, but we did have another question for you. She knows that you had the opportunity to live in the U.S., also in the Bahamas, and now you're in Canada. What would you say was your adjustment to living in the U.S. or your adjustment to now living in Canada? What was something that was alarming for you?
Oh my God, the adjustment is I love the U.S. shopping. I miss my Florida 20th Street and Fifth Avenue. And California, the alley, and New York. Listen to me, I could tell you. But what I miss, the difference is the depending on which part of Canada you are, the clothing and the styles. While you can find a lot of the same fashion you would find in the United States, people of color, and especially people who come from the Caribbean, we like a particular style, and we like we have a particular taste for a certain design. In certain areas, you would find less of it because I like to shop in the ghetto. In the ghetto, you could find a lot of the goodies, and depending on which part of Canada you move, you can always, if there are certain things you desire and you want, you can always drive over the border to New York. Like less than 2 hours, I could be in New York. A little over an hour, I can be in New York. So yeah, there are just certain things I miss about the U.S. that I won't find here. And Canada is very strict about certain items that you can purchase in the U.S. and the Bahamas that they don't allow here. So there's certain things, unless someone bring it for you, you won't be able to. We have Amazon here, and we have Walmart here. We have a lot of the U.S. stores, but you won't be able to order. You think you could be able to order from Walmart in the U.S. and have it shipped here? No. You won't be able to do that. You can order from Amazon in the U.S. to have it shipped here, but yeah. I hope I answered the question. I'm sorry if I strayed.
Tamara.
No, you answered it.
Tamara, did you hear what I heard?
What was that?
She's not coming back home. She didn't say anything she missed about the Bahamas. Seth, are you coming back home?
What you missed, Seth?
What I missed? The only thing I miss is the beach.
Whoa.
I'm not gonna lie. I could get the food. I could get click. I could get I'm sorry, I could get the banana bread. I have friends here, and we have Old Nassau here.
Oh, okay.
I can get a lot of things, but just the beach. You just can't get that water. Oh my God, you can't get that. Oh, and crab. Yeah, I miss my own fresh crab.
Okay, so she missed.
So with having so many international people, it's all kind of cultures and stuff from in Canada now. Is there a Bahamian restaurant?
Yeah, my girlfriend owns a Bahamian restaurant. It's called Old Nassau.
Oh, that could be
Everything. She got guava duff, she got peas and rice, she got crack kong, chicken in the bag. Girl, everything you could think of. She's a crab soup, crab and dough, whatever. And then not only that, we have a lot of Bahamians who cook.
Okay.
You know, they cook food and sell it, yeah. You get that stuff if you want it. If you whatever you want, you can get it out.
Okay, so that's why she's not missing home.
She's asking, how much is gas a gallon?
Oh God, I can't remember.
It's too cheap.
I gotta ask my husband. I think. Can I? Honestly, I go to the gas station and I honestly carry.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's not that expensive, or you're making a lot of money, Zed.
Uh-oh, we may have lost her.
So I wonder what about the party life over there. Oh, she's gone. Well, tomorrow.
When you think about Canada, one of the things that stuck out to me is the shopping isn't as nice as in the U.S., according to what she's saying, and that's something.
Sorry, guys, I'm back. I was asking my husband. I think he said it's $1.60 a liter. I can't remember. Yeah, $1.60 a liter. Because listen, prior to the pandemic, do you know gas was literally 60 cents a liter?
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, Zed, you I can understand why you're not missing home because you got everything from home. So that's acceptable. And I wanted to tell you the wage here is $5.50 an hour. I hope I'm correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
$5.50 or $6.50.
That's just so.
Someone can correct me.
We have a lot. We in the Bahamas. We have a lot. We have a lot to work on because I think that's been so long. The minimum wage has been so long under a particular level. And I don't know, with the cost of living and everything increasing, you would think that we would have already evolved.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I love my Bahamian people. I love my Bahamas. I don't want y'all to think I diss y'all. But it's just when I made up in my mind, I moved to Florida, to California. I still came back home. I always came back home because I always thought, okay, I graduated in Florida as a respiratory therapist and had an opportunity to work in a major hospital. I gave that up to come back home. To only never get a job in the Bahamas.
Now we have to remember, guys, we have to mute our microphones. If we're via Zoom, take a look. And if you're not muted, I really need you to mute your microphone. I do apologize for that.
Yeah, so I've given the Bahamas three strikes. Then I moved to California. I get swing thinking I was getting a government job.
I can hear you fine. Remember, you have to mute your microphone. Or host, please mute the microphone for us and only allow Zed and Tamara's microphone open.
Great.
Okay. We do apologize for all the technical difficulties so far, but it sounds like the move. Jack, have you ever been to Canada?
No. The closest I went to snow was Alabama. That's where I experienced it, and it was nice.
Okay. One of the things that I loved about Canada, that I was expressing to Jackie, one of the things I loved about Canada, and I wasn't expecting because I never thought I was a person that would enjoy hiking. But somehow the fresh air in Canada and waking up, 6:30 a.m. to go for a hike was appealing to me. What is something in Canada that you find yourself doing that you just didn't think you would, adapt to or love? Uh-oh. Francis is gone again. Jackie?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay.
What would I find? Ice skating.
Oh yeah, okay.
The hiking thing, I must say, oh my goodness, I haven't been brave enough because I watch too much horror movies. My in-laws always want to invite me on hiking trips and camping trips, but I haven't been brave enough yet to venture out in that. I'm still scary island girl. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Freddy or Jason coming out in the bush.
Now, we have like 3 minutes before we close out. So I want you to think for that. I want you to give us, a summary of basically what we've talked about. But what is something you really want to stick in someone's memory in terms of who's thinking about making the move to Canada?
I would tell you there are endless opportunities here. There are endless opportunities. Once you've made up in your mind that you are going to move and make the move, be willing to work towards what you want. Don't give up. Do not move to Canada with a comfortable island life, lackadaisical mentality. This is a hustle and bustle country. This is not a country where you just feel like you can get by on the skin of your teeth. But the opportunities are here. Don't give up. Make the move if you're going to do it. Go full-fledged. Save your money. And connect with someone who's going to tell you the hard, honest truth of what to expect. Don't watch the TikTok videos. You think everybody is glamour and glitz and it's so this. There are procedures, there's steps, there's a process to everything. But once you went through that process and you follow the steps, there's no way you would regret moving. And don't watch people here. That's one thing I love about Canada. Canada don't watch you. Nobody knows you. You could walk outside in a rusty wig or clothes you've been wearing for 3 days. No one knows you. No one's going to pay attention to you. They don't watch you here. So just know that you can be a success here. You can be a success story. You can be happy, and you can have an awesome and fruitful future if you connect yourself with the right people and have a plan put in place.
Without a plan, you plan to fail, right? Without a plan. Everything you said, we just want to thank you for being on the show. Everything you said, one of the things that really stuck out to me is that 6 months rent in order to qualify for a home. So when you're thinking in terms of, you got to think now, 6 months rent, just to make sure as a backup, because otherwise you would be probably stuck trying to roommate with someone that has the good credit score until you're able to get on your own. That sounds like a big adjustment. Am I right in thinking that?
You're right. Now listen, that doesn't apply for everybody. That happens, every so often. But there's nothing wrong with roommating, Sometimes you can have someone who has a 5-bedroom house. You can have your own bathroom, your own floor, there's nothing wrong with that. So just to let them know, when you consider the fact of roommating or sharing a space with someone, this is totally different. The homes here are totally different from what we're used to in the Bahamas. There are levels to this, So when you could say you're renting, space, you could actually have your own floor. Okay.
But on behalf of Table of Change, that's Senator Francis Wilson, host of I Am Woman. We just want to thank you for all of your views in terms of moving to Canada and help us to make a more informative decision. And thanks for making it so entertaining and lively like you always do. Those of you that are listening, that called in with your questions, we want to humbly thank you. We want to continue to have you call into Table of Change, because at Table of Change, we don't just talk, we don't just discuss. We bring the issue to the table and we try to solve it. And it takes you to help us. Let us know what the issue is by calling in. We want you to come listen in next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Table of Change. On behalf of myself, Tamara Fox-Smith,
Jacqueline Fernanda Moxie, Table of Change. See you next week.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
The views expressed on this